Alrighty, welcome back. A long-awaited return to the pod of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. Took a little post-Super Bowl break, as we do in the off season, and we're gonna
Of
have
course. Too
some
busy celebrating.
sporadic, sporadic episodes throughout probably leading up to probably the summer, and then we'll start doing our top tens again. Hopefully, can get through all positions this time. We got close last year, but.
It creeps up on you pretty quickly.
It does. You gotta get after. So but we got March Madness. So
March Madness will be
we'll
big.
have an episode on that. I think Tyrell, who's been on a couple times, he might be joining me for that. Tim, if you can make it for your, I don't even know. Are you watching March Madness in London? Do they air it?
March Madness, yeah, March Madness is a good time.
Hmm.
Because they go on all day, so they
Hmm.
start at a reasonable hour. They start at like noon,
Oh, that's
and
nice. Yeah.
yeah, I'll have my bracket done. I have followed no college basketball this
And neither
year.
have
I know
I.
Cooper Flag, and that's about that.
Hopefully a Sixers great at some point.
Well, that would be nice. If
But
they manage to get Cooper Flag, I will then be on board with the moving Embiid train.
yeah, that's a whole episode in itself. But I I've been so like I'm at the point where I'm like, why even bother trading him at this point? Like we've gone through so much, like just try and finish it out. He can't have that many more years left in him because of all these injuries. So but yeah, I was always on
Um,
the don't trade and beat train. And now a
yeah, I
lot of
know.
Sixers fans are like it's like I think it went from like a 40-60, like 60% wanted to keep him for most of his career. But now I feel like it's like 80% of fans want him gone. I'm like,
See, it's not like I've always been Team Embiid. It's not like it's really him in a vacuum. It's
right.
just you've tried so many different things. I mean, think of all the different players they've had come through this organization with him.
I mean, the
You've had
frustration's
your
it's valid.
Ben, your Hardens, your Paul George now. You got Maxey, you've got Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. Like it's been a never-ending revolving door of people to bring in around Joel Embiid, and it's gotten nowhere, and he's fallen apart even more. Yeah.
I think the worst part is the best team we had was when it was Doug Collins was our coach and we had Jimmy Butler.
Oh yeah, that was easily the best
That
one.
was if that team that was that team if they could have kept him on and figured it
Doug
out with
Collins, wasn't
Ben.
it? What was his face? The guy that stunk. Brett Brown.
Oh, Brett Brown. Yeah, what am I? Wow, I'm going way back. Doug
To
Collins.
be fair, I mean,
That was
if
10
you
years
start
ago.
looking backwards, we thought like we were really doing a lot for Joel Embiid, but we've kind of squandered the opportunity. Like
He
Brett
really
Brown
had
and Doc Rivers,
they have not drafted
terrible
well.
coaches. Yeah, they've drafted so poorly. Ben Simmons was horrific. Markel Fultz was horrific.
Like
Both coaches stunk.
Besides Harden and now Maxey, obviously, like who have they gotten to help him? Like you can't win with one superstar anymore in this league. You need at least a 1A, a 1B, and a 1C. Like him and
Yeah,
Mac, like in a perfect world, if Paul George is healthy and playing a little bit better than he is, and Embiid is healthy, they would be like top five in the East right now. But you can't help injuries. I mean, Embiid's missed 400 plus games. I think he's missed more games than he's played, which is an insane stat. But
well, that's what I mean. Especially with the way the max contracts are, he's making so much money. There's no realistic way you could ever build a team around him.
yeah, but
It's a shame. I mean, I think he's really good. I just think he's breaking down at an even faster rate. Injuries have always been a problem with him, but
oh yeah.
it seems like it's getting worse.
Well,
And
I think I
I
saw
don't know. What
that
makes you think they're going to win? Now they're locked into Paul George, who stinks too.
Yeah, yeah. I like how he's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should put a pause on my podcast and focus on the game. I was like, huh, God forbid, Paul. You know.
Yeah, buddy, the place is about to go wild soon.
Um, but yeah. That aside, Philly's coming up soon. Hopefully, I feel better this year. I think now, like, even though I was mad they didn't really make too many adjustments after the last team, they seem more like I feel like there's less pressure on them. Like they don't feel as pressured to get back, so maybe they'll play a little looser, play a little better. I don't know, but should be good. Um,
Yeah, this team, they just look at it and think it's a disaster. And the guy who never gets heat. We've went through all these names of coaches, went through all the players. Why is Daryl Morey still like running this team?
so
What
yeah,
like
back to I mean, saying the Sam Hinkie
sorry, you triggered me.
did
This is the
about
problem
just
with the
as much.
Sixers.
He
You
did
just
about just as much as Maury.
I like the Sixers have been it's been a mixture of the Eagles won the Super Bowl and then the Sixers have been irrelevant. So I haven't even followed them or kept my interest in them. And
Hmm.
now I've slowly gotten into them, and the more I've gotten into them, the more I just hate everything that they're doing. Like the Eagles Super Bowl is starting to wear off. Now my venom for the Sixers is starting to come out.
Yeah, Nick and I went to the game a couple weeks ago.
That's a
Um,
shame.
yeah, I kid you not. I think I clapped more during like the intermission performances when they blow out the dancers or like the t-shirt toss. I think
Of
I clapped
course.
more during that than I did during the actual game.
What did they give you? Did they? I'm just gonna go on a limb and say they lost.
They lost to the Blazers
That's
by
a
like
tough one.
they were up, I think by like almost 20 in the first quarter, and then they lost by 20. I couldn't even name like besides Simmons or Simons, whatever his name is. I can't name anyone else on the Blazers. Although Matisse Thybulle was apparently on the Blazers. That's a name.
Oh, there, that is a name. That's a throwback.
I always liked him for his defense, but his shooting was a concern. But
I mean, he could play good defense, but he could do absolutely nothing offensively.
yeah. But
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
anyways, we digress. So this is supposed to be a Eagles free agency offseason recap as to this point, and it's been pretty quiet except for a couple interesting moves. I mean, we I think we all thought Kenny Pickett was going to get moved, mostly for the fact that they want, they knew teams were going to want him. They wanted to move. What's his name? Well, I just blanked out. What is this? What's the third game string guy's name?
Tanner McKee.
Yeah, they want Tanner McKee to go into the second quarterback spot, and then they got DTR from the Browns, so he'll be the third guy if he makes the team.
Great
Um,
move. Honestly, great move.
yeah,
Give
I don't
Howie
know.
credit. Like
I mean, what did
the fact
we?
that you got anything for Pickett, like if they cut Pickett, I would have been perfectly happy with that because then Tanner could be the backup.
Yeah, what I think we got. We also got like was it a fourth or a fifth? I forget.
Fifth and DTR.
Yeah. And I think we traded a fifth for him in the first place, or fourth or something. So
Yeah, I
it
think we
was,
gave up a little bit more. I think it was like
I think it
a
was fourth.
yeah, fourth and a sixth, maybe. Picked up
Mhm.
a fifth this time. But I mean, he definitely I thought he stunk less when we got him
Yeah, I
than
think
I
he
do
was
now.
he.
He looks much worse than now. My opinion of him is much worse now than it was when we first got him. He definitely is decreased in value, and somehow
Uh,
they still managed to trade him to the Browns for a different quarterback and
he
a fifth round pick.
and what's crazy is like he'll probably compete for a Brown starting job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, someone's got to. I have to
So
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
I don't know what goes on with that team.
I don't know.
They
Miles
are a
Garrett was
disaster.
like Miles Garrett spent the entire Super Bowl media week telling people that he wants to go to a competitor, and then he's like, Cleveland backed up the Brinks truck. He's like, you know what? I think I like it here.
See, Cleveland
So
has the strategy that they know they just solve all their problems with money. Think about the Deshaun Watson trade. Like Watson, like, I don't
such
want
a
to go to
bad,
Cleveland. And he's
historically
like, oh,
awful.
I'll give you all guaranteed money. He's like, all right, well, Cleveland it is. Miles Garrett, I want to win. The team's not there. I love this team, but I need to win. I want to be a Super Bowl contender. Here's a dump truck full of money, Miles. Oh, you know what? Cleveland and Canton. Always love this
I
city.
feel like they like upper management had to have said something to him like, hey, look, we're gonna draft a quarterback, or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Like I feel like for all
No,
this
they
stuff he
just gave
was,
him so much money.
but for all the stuff he was saying, there's no way you just like, okay, like you know what I
That
mean?
no,
Like
literally, that's exactly what happened. Money is more important than winning.
no, we'll see. But
I'm just telling you,
so
like,
so he got money. Max Crosby. Well, it's funny because Max Crosby had the highest non-quarterback contract with the Raiders, and then Myles Garrett got the highest contract, and then Josh
yeah.
Allen got the highest. They were like trying to one up each other, so everyone was getting paid. Um,
So what to going back, so Miles Garrett, what do you
hmm.
think realistically they could have said to him besides here's a dump truck full of money that makes him think that they would actually win?
I think
What is the outlook?
I think he realistically he did want to finish his career as a Brown, but I think he also was
Okay.
trying to make it clear that hey, I want to be competitive. I want to compete in the playoffs. I want to try for a championship. I
Hmm.
I believe I put the Browns in the playoffs last year when we were doing our preseason stuff. I think they have talent. I think they have a good coach. I think they just need to figure out quarterback. Like they have some like Jerry Judy had a great year. And Njoku's a
Yeah.
great tight end. They have a good line. Their defense has good young pieces. They have a good defensive coach in Schwartz. Like I think if
You're
they
saying
can
a lot of
figure
good and
out,
great for a team that won, what, 3 games last year?
well, they had a lot of injuries last year, but I think quarterback is where they need to figure it out. So if they're drafting a guy, maybe he was like, hey, look, we're gonna, draft Cam Ward or whatever, and they're like, he's like, all right, like let's run it, whatever. I can't imagine they were just like, yeah, here's just a blank check, and that was it, like the end of the conversation. Like he had to have
I
been
mean,
convinced that they're going to try and win.
yeah, but what do you do? We're stuck with
Quarter,
Deshaun
they have to
Watson.
figure out quarterback. That's the biggest
It,
problem.
to be fair, they did trade for Kenny Pickett like 2 days after.
Yeah, that's definitely yeah. Miles, listen, we're gonna trade for Kenny Pickett. You should sign. Oh, yeah, I'll take a discount even.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's what I think.
No, I think I disagree with you. I think they just gave him a dump truck of money, and he was like, "All right, cool, I'll stay."
I feel like I could never put myself in those shoes because I like you can't actually say what you would do or what you wouldn't do in that situation without experiencing it. But
I
I
take the
just
dump truck of money.
I know, but like there's got to be a point where like there's like enough money is enough money. You know what I mean?
Well, apparently not if you're dealing
Like
with like it was because he was so
like is
adamant
50
about
million
getting
and like
traded.
60 million or well he got what 100 something or 200 something. But you know what I mean? Like there has to be a point where you're like, all right, I'll sacrifice $30 million to have a Super Bowl ring. Like.
Nope, apparently not.
But I don't know.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Yeah. But talking about the Eagles free agency, it's been fairly quiet in the obviously we moved Pickett, Sweat, Milton Williams, Isaiah Rogers, and who am I missing? All moved on.
Hmm.
I don't think we were surprised by any of them. I was surprised
Milton
by
got
Gardner Johnson
paid.
getting trained. Yeah.
Milton got paid.
I knew he'd get paid, but I was way more than I ever thought he was ever
Yeah.
going to get.
Well, Patriots had a lot to spend, so
Still. Um, the Gardner Johnson one, I think is the only one I don't love. Like, I definitely didn't want to pay whatever Milton Sweat got. I don't, again, he wants a new extension, but something about him. He brought the swag, he brought the energy. We did go to 2 Super Bowls the 2 years he played here. He's kind of that Danny Green effect when Danny Green was playing in the winning finals every year and back to back.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess the Eagles have to cut salary and find where they can. They did sign Zach Vaughn, which was big. That
That
was
was
kind of the only
huge. We
mandatory.
we made the last episode we did, we made a big point on that. That
That was the
that
only move
was the
that
most
had to happen.
important. Yeah, that was like, I think guard is a very replaceable offensive line spot. A tackle is the one that's tough because those are, you know, high priced. The talent's not always is there's more parity there. Um,
Yeah,
but I think Becton is just probably asking for too much right now. I heard he could still come back for the right price, but I don't know. He
I
hasn't
think
signed yet, so that could be a good or a bad sign.
I feel like that he's not getting the number he thought he was going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think every day that goes by, there's a better chance he's coming back.
Yeah.
Howie probably said, "Hey, we'll give you this. Go see if you can beat it. If
I mean,
not, we're
he's
here."
like he's young, right? Like,
No, yeah. I mean, he had the best year of his career. Like Statler
yeah.
finally got
No,
this
I
guy
mean,
in check.
I think he had a phenomenal year and he's on a great supporting cast. I don't think he's an all-pro, but I think he definitely played like
No.
close to Pro Bowl level. I think he's a good start. He's a really good starter, but we'll see. But the big news, obviously, CJ Gardner-Johnson getting traded. What were your like immediate thoughts without like, thinking about the breakdown? Like what was your first thing that crossed your mind when you saw that?
I mean, I was surprised. I was definitely surprised they moved on from him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's because part of me thinks we've only been thinking about Bond, Milton, and Sweat because those were the
Hmm.
big guys that we figured were going to go, and Bond being the guy we wanted to keep. I didn't even see it on the table, but I was bummed. I was sad to see him go. It kind of felt like the first time around. Didn't want him to leave the first time around either. I was thrilled when he came back.
Yeah.
He brought the energy, he brought the swagger.
I
I
mean,
know
he's
he had
never coming
his
back again now.
shortcomings.
No way we do a three time.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense. I mean, at first, yeah, I'd say my first reaction was surprised but sad. I didn't want to give him up. I thought he had a good role in the team. I actually liked him back there with Reed. He brought some swagger, and we just see success a lot when he plays back there.
Hmm.
I think he's a player that you love to have, hate to play against, or just hate in general. Um, but
He's
yeah, I mean,
he's polarizing for sure.
I did think we'd get a little bit more back. We got what?
That was, I
The
think that's, so my initial reaction, I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, all right, well then they like, what did we get? And I was like, this is like potato chips. Like
Yeah,
he's a starting safety. Like I feel like, and
the
he's a,
worst guard in football, literally, is
yeah,
what we
like
got back.
I'm like, see, my thought is like, all right, Becton was obviously a diamond in the rough, but you can't expect every shitty bust that you acquire to come in here and be able to be fixed, you know?
Yeah,
He could be, he was a first round pick, so maybe this new guy, I don't remember his name, Kenyon Green. So maybe
yeah.
he will come in and you know the magic will be worked on him and he'll turn into a Becton 2.0. But I don't know. I just feel like the swapping that like we got what a fifth and gave them a six and they got CJ. Like I don't know. From what I've kind of learned post looking at this trade, couple things. Um, Obviously CJ wasn't great in coverage at times, but he still had 6 picks.
Yeah,
He had a fumble recovery, I think, for a touchdown. Um, he would make a couple big impact plays. He had a couple like third and ones, fourth and ones where he came down to the bye, like came
he
down to the
did
line, made a big hit, forced a
make
stop.
big plays. Yeah,
He's vocal. He gets in people's faces. He's a maybe not a leader, but on the field, he's a rah rah guy. Gets people going. Very Philly-esque player, I feel like. So I think a lot of the fans are upset to see him go because they like the character, like on the field and stuff. But
well, I mean,
it
think
seemed,
he was our Zach Bond from 22 when we had the free agency after the first Super Bowl
yeah,
against the Chiefs. We all desperately wanted to keep Gardner Johnson, and then he left, and we were all sad, and they brought him back. We were thrilled. He does make big plays. I mean, yeah, he might get, his coverage is not great, but it's a talent in making those big plays. I can think of many big plays that he made that were like that make me forget about all the other, blown
oh, for
coverages
sure.
or this and that. Um, but yeah, it is a bum. I mean, I'm not thrilled about getting a third string guard and a fifth round pick or, a swap or whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm going to take Howie's trust, assume that was the best he was going to get. And, in Howie, we trust. I'll give him that.
I,
But we'll see. One thing I wanted to ask you, though.
hmm,
So now, hearing a lot of the rumors that they're going to continue to shed salary, which is fine. You got a
hmm.
lot of guys coming up extensions. Goddard's the name being thrown around. Bryce Huff's name's been thrown around, but I think we've been throwing around his name since week 5, and we knew he stinks. Um, but what happened to you? Like the whole offseason, it was like we're getting Miles Garrett. We're just getting Miles Garrett. Just bring him in. Like, how did the mindset of we're going to go get the best defensive player in football suddenly change to we're cutting salary, we're trading away Gardner Johnson, we're trading away Bryce Huff, who stinks, but we're cutting Dallas Goddard. We've got like 14 draft picks. We picked up a few more from these trades. I want to see a win now move. That's what I want to see. I get you have all these guys on extensions coming up, but who do you have to pay right now? You might get some, below market contracts done if you do them now, like ahead to schedule, like how he always does,
Yeah.
like he did with Sweat, like he did with Reddick, like he did with Malata. And he's probably going to do it with a couple guys, but you're not desperate to sign anyone. Like this roster is going to be very close to nearly the same we saw last year as this year. And I want to see a win now move because you're not going to use all 9 draft picks they have or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you're shedding salary. If you were going to go, if everyone's demanding Miles Garrett last week and now everyone's cool with just cutting Dallas Goddard and moving on from Gardner Johnson, what happened? Where do we
Well,
go? Where's the win now move happening?
I also think that was never like it was just a pipe dream. I think it was just fans were putting it into existence. I don't because I heard Adam Schefter, I think today he was saying like that was never going to happen. He said he's like I don't know why people were reporting it because it wasn't really going to happen. So I mean, I don't know. Like I obviously like would have liked that, or would have loved like Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson. Get complete the trio of exciting whites.
Yeah.
But I think the money, it's just like all those players command so much money, and they all would have needed new contracts. So I think that the thought process is let's keep in-house guys, let's extend them, keep them happy, keep the Georgia dogs together. Um, but I think Jalen Carter definitely needs an extension next. He'll be, I think next year he's due.
After what Milton Williams got, jeez,
Oh, Jalen's gonna be like it's we're probably gonna have two Jalen's get the most money because I think Hurts is gonna he'll be due for another extension next year. Um, so it could be just double Jalen, triple the money.
I think they, yeah, I don't,
But there are a lot of like Cam Jurgens, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, um,
like a lot of probably needs a
Ilata
touch
might,
up soon,
yeah.
yeah, especially
But
considering the money that we're throwing around on offense tackles. So, all right,
I'm
handicap
sure
me at,
Devontae Smith at some point. Although I think he got paid last year actually.
yeah, I mean, that's part of how he's talented. I'll give him credit there. He's always a year ahead on everyone else on
Yeah,
these deals. He never waits the last minute. We never have camp holdouts
yeah.
because of this. So I'll give him credit there. But handicap me, what are the chances we bring in Trey Henderson then, since he's the other big name who, Crosby's in, Garrett's in. I think Henderson gets traded. The Bengals are so cheap that they're not going to bring back
I
all
would
three
hate
of
to be a,
them.
a fucking Bengals fan, man.
Oh God, yeah. But
Your
he's
your
like,
owner just doesn't give a shit. Like to spend some money. God damn, you have
oh,
a
he's so
top
cheap.
three quarterback.
Well,
Like,
no,
come on, man.
I think that's the problem. Is the way I look at it is they're obviously extremely cheap. We all know that. Joe Burrow is still there. They're gonna do everything they can to make him happy. That being said, that making him happy is bringing back Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. If you have to sacrifice Trey Hendrickson to do that,
Tell
so
me,
be it.
tell me we're not watching the mid 2000 Bengals all over again. Carson Palmer, Ocho Cinco, TJ Houshmandzadeh, great trio of players there doing nothing because their team surrounding them is terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, well, as
Honestly,
of right
that
now,
Bengals team was more competitive, if we're being honest.
well, Hendrickson's still there at the moment. Carson Palmer
Yeah.
had no one on defense that was worthwhile.
I can't even name an old Bengal on defense. Vontez Perfect.
I think
Like,
that's a name. Geno Atkins had a
yeah,
nice
Geno
little
Atkins,
spot.
yeah, had a cup of
He was
tea.
in the later realm though.
He was good. But
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that he's going. He'd be the one I'd love to see.
I just don't think
Except,
the way that they're trying to shed money doesn't make me believe they're going to spend money. So I think they're just going to keep cutting players and trading players. I don't think they're going to bring anybody in until the draft.
I want to see one win now move. That's the only thing. Howie can do whatever he wants, and Howie I trust. I want to see a win now move.
I mean, we did okay, so we did lose like six players on defense. Not all were starters. So that's kind of significant, but I don't know.
You didn't really lose anyone.
I still like where the team is.
All right, in
I like the AJ
retrospect,
Dillon signing. I think that's a nice if he's healthy,
yeah, but
that's a
that
good.
doesn't.
No,
Look at
okay.
going into next season. You have 10 of your 11 offensive starters locked in,
Hmm.
assuming what happens with Becton, whatever.
Sure.
Look, all right, so you've lost on defense your backup defensive tackle,
Okay.
your
Backup.
I will
He was starting.
Milton Williams? No, he wasn't.
He was starting. You have a Jomo stepping in. I'm not worried about that production.
No, no. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are your starters. Milton Williams is backup defensive tackle. Josh Sweat was a starter.
Backup defensive tackles don't get 120 million.
At the end of the day, what was he? A backup or a starter?
He started. What do you mean? They rotate
They,
guys.
they rotate. That doesn't sound like
All
starter to
right.
me.
Whatever.
Backup defensive tackle, starting defensive end. You lost your safety.
Hmm.
Backup cornerback, your third or fourth
You
cornerback.
need depth at corner.
That's fine. But these moves do not hurt your Super Bowl chances.
No. And they'll draft a guy. I mean, I'm not opposed to having I think I put it in our text chat in our one group that I kind of like the idea of bringing the old Denver guys in, Von Miller and Justin Simmons. They're older, not as great as they were, but those are
Mm,
great veteran
I
presences
don't
for the
know,
right
man. Von
price.
Miller, he has done nothing with Buffalo.
But he wouldn't start. He would be a rotating guy. You know, Jay. I think like Jalen Hunt, if he has a good camp, put him at starting.
I mean, yeah, Hunt will take some snaps, but they got what? They picked up that Kenny Pickett trade. So I think they have 8 picks. Super Bowl like contending teams generally don't need or use all 8 picks. There's plenty of picks to go around. They're not like desperate on the cap. They haven't signed these guys yet.
Yeah.
Make me a win now movement, and go for it heavy one more time, and then you can start cutting bait. Then you can do whatever you need to do to get under the cap because you got to sign these guys. And that might include, losing a few more guys. Because, maybe Devontae Smith isn't here. Maybe you can't keep Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Because then, DeJean and Quignon need extensions.
I don't want to speak it into existence because there's like a 1% chance I think it could actually happen. But how terrible would it be if the Eagles like they're like, oh, we're signing Cooper Cup, and then the next day they trade AJ Brown
No, I mean, I'd be down to sign Cooper Cup, give him a 1 year,
for like a
whatever.
cheap deal. But I think he could get more money somewhere else on like a
If you sign him for 1 year, I don't care how much it costs. If you do 1 year, I'm fine with it.
hmm, if he
Because
stays healthy.
you just need your salary cap for next season. You're fine this year. You don't desperately
Yeah.
need to give these contracts out.
No, yeah, I
Give
agree.
1 year, whatever he wants. 1 year, 10. I'm down with that.
Hmm.
I mean, it's being unstoppable offense.
It would be pretty crazy. But yeah, I think we'll have to see. Like I obviously I'm a big Dallas Goedert guy. When he's healthy, he's a top five tight end. Um, but he doesn't stay healthy, so you don't really want to commit money to that.
Speaking of the Bills, you know who I would have? I'm out on Von Miller. I think he's got nothing left. Joey
Okay.
Bosa, I would have been on. I would have been on
Yeah,
Joey
he signed with
Bosa
the
before he went
Bills.
to the
Yep.
Bills. That he would have been a nice pickup. I like. All right. Well, we talked about the Eagles free agency quite a bit. They haven't really done too much, to be honest. We didn't
No.
expect them to do too much. So going around the league, give
Hmm.
me your three favorite and your three worst signings.
Free favorite.
Three
Hmm.
good. And to be honest, when you go through free agency, it's hard to find strong one. In a weird way, this offseason is not a very good free agent class and not a
No,
great draft class.
when the news started breaking all these players, I'm like, eh. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like I think Devontae Adams is still top 10 receiver, but I feel like a healthy Cooper Cup versus a Devontae Adams, is that really a big change? Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's not. I feel like it's not going to be much different. You know what I mean?
So you
Like
got Devontae Adams moving one of your three
no, I
worst.
don't. Not worse. I think it's a good move if you're not going to bring back Cup, but um, I'm trying to think. Um, who did I like?
To be fair, that's part of the reason why I think Howie's got is looking for a trade is there weren't very good free agents out there. I mean, the best free agents were Eagles, and the draft class isn't super strong. Like I don't see them picking up Quignon and Cooper DeJean again in the draft.
I don't know if I have any favorite. I mean, some surprising ones. I mean, Sam Darnold going to Seattle and Seattle trading Geno Smith to the Raiders and then trading DK Metcalf to the Steelers. So they're definitely in like a little soft rebuild or hard
To
rebuild.
be honest, those I could just do CL. So two of the ones I didn't like, you just named right there.
Hmm,
One, I don't understand the Sam Darnold signing at all. It just makes no sense to me.
no.
Why you cut Lockett, you trade DK, you kind of stink. Like you have all the writings on the wall of rebuilding. So why do you then go get a 3 year, hundred whatever $1 million quarterback in Sam Darnold? Like you know exactly what Sam Darnold is.
Yeah.
Like Sam Darnold's also going to win some games for you, but this team stinks. They made it worse by doing these deals. You
I
know,
mean,
I
I think I think Chris Godwin going back to Tampa is a great move for them.
was a good move.
Um, I don't understand Javon Holland going to the Giants. Like
Eh.
they could have kept Xavier McKinney for that money from last year, and they're not like a win now
Well,
team.
now Sean, I would never take, his side on anything, but I did see something that was kind of, a good light. He's like, it takes a big general manager or smart general manager to, admit their mistakes and be able to fix it. I don't know if this is him going out of his way to kind of fix that mistake, but yeah, I think hindsight, he should have just kept McKinney, but what are you going to do?
Would you take, assuming he's healthy by training camp, would you take a flyer on Stephon Diggs? I feel like just from the character alone, I don't want him on this team.
No, no.
Doesn't
Because
really
you know
fit.
what?
Too many divas.
He
Yeah.
complains that he doesn't get enough targets when he's getting, 10 a game. No interest. Cup, I would be interested in. No interest in Diggs.
Um, I think Travarius Ward going from San Fran to Indy. That's a good pickup for Indy. Indy had a decent free
On
agency.
He was Ward was actually on my list, one of my favorites. I think the money you got him on between you look at the three big signings. Byron Murphy got 366. Carlton Davis got 360.
Where did
So
Byron Murphy go?
he stayed with the Vikings.
Oh, okay.
I think Ward's a better player than Byron Murphy. I think he's also a better player than Davis, and he's,
I think Byron Murphy
right
just
around the same money.
fits that Viking system really well.
I mean, nothing against keeping your own guys, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Ward would have definitely cost more. I thought he's a better
Yeah.
than both those guys. He went to a team that had money, and I don't know. I thought his market would be a little bit better. He's a better player than that. He's a proven player. I mean, he won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, if I
Eh.
remember correctly. He was in the Super Bowl just last year with the Niners. I mean, he's a big player in those teams.
I do think
I'll
the
give you a move that
Lions.
I
Oh, go ahead.
I'll give you a move that I don't like though.
Oh.
Speaking of corners.
Hmm.
This is just like an overreach. Like we were just talking about Schoen just, going out of his way to fix a mistake he did. I mean, giving JC Horn the most money ever to a defensive back was insane. The guy is just never plays. He's a good player. I still, even if he was healthy, I still don't know if I'd give
I
him that
think,
deal.
did he not
But
play
he's
all
hurt
year?
all the time.
I thought he played this year.
I mean, maybe, but he's played, I think it was like 37 games in a 4-year career.
Well, what's crazy is I mean you and I when we do our cornerbacks episode, Jari Alexander is always pretty high, but he has not played a lot of games the last couple years. I
Yeah,
was
that's why
looking
they're
at it the
trying to
other
trade
day.
him. You don't go
Yeah.
and sign them to the most money a defense back's ever gotten in NFL history. I
Yeah.
mean, JC Horn is a nice player, but like I said, even if he was healthy all the time, I still don't think he's like
All right.
a
Let's see. He
greatest
played
cornerback of all time kind of
he
player.
played 3 games his rookie year. He played 13 games his second year, 6 games the year after that, 15 games this year. So that means next year he's gonna play in 9 games.
Yeah, so he basically played one season,
He
one
is
full season.
I think I think the money is a little questionable, but I do think it was smart for them to pay him because the corner market is only going to go up from there, and he is a when he's healthy a pretty I would argue he's pushing top 10. But
Top 10, sure. This is the most money for a cornerback
well,
ever.
they you always have to reset the market. Like the next corner to get a like I'm sure Sauce Gardner is going to get double that. It's going to be crazy. But
So, okay, but Patrick Surtain already got paid. So you gave JC Horn more money than Patrick Surtain got.
that's how it works.
I just, man, no, that if I'm the Panthers, I look at the Surtain contract, I'm like, this is the top we're gonna move down. Like it's not like he's a year or two off. These guys were in the same draft class.
That's why every contract Howie negotiates, it looks great in the moment, and then it looks even better a year later when, like, look at
I don't
Devontae
know.
Smith's contract is phenomenal compared to t players of the same talent level.
Oh
So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, don't this is I said this in the beginning. Howie's great at this.
yeah.
Other GMs are terrible at this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I'm the Panthers, man, I'd be like, listen, you are nowhere near Surtain. You will not get more money than Patrick Surtain.
Uh,
But I think this is a more of a they've let DJ Moore go. They've let Christian McCaffrey go. They've let Brian Burns go. They
mm.
needed to keep someone. So, I mean, good for JC Horn. Happy that he got his money. But yeah, no, I thought that was a horrendous signing.
Yeah. I was also surprised that Aaron Jones got 20 million from the Vikings, 2-year 20 mil. That was kind of interesting.
Don't hate it. Thought he had a
I
good
don't
year.
hate it. I just think that's a seems like a lot for him at his age,
Yeah, but now
but
that Darnold's gone, they got a quarterback on the rookie contract. It's a good time to keep the players there. Murphy staying, him staying. It makes sense.
so
It's
what
not
is
a
what's your of all the quarterback moves, Justin Fields to the Jets, Gino moving, Darnold, Daniel Jones, who do you think what's the best and worst opportunities there for success?
Sam Darnold was the worst. Doesn't make any sense to me. I
I think
don't
his
get it.
coach isn't his coach from the same tree of Kevin O'Connell? Isn't wasn't he weren't
I I have no idea, but I just tell you, I did not like
or
that
offensive
move.
coordinator or something? I forget.
My
Okay.
thinking just being like, what? Why? I know Gino wanted an extension, but once you move on from Gino and then you move on from DK and then you move on from Tyler Lockett,
Yeah.
that signals to me we're in a transition. Bringing in Sam Darnold is not the quarterback I would want in a transition. Guy coming off the best year of his life. It's I don't know. I would draft a guy, trade up in the draft if you want, just bring in anyone,
Yeah.
you know, bring in someone younger. But no, Sam Darnold's not the guy I would have brought in. The flip side, the
Hmm.
best one quarterback move I thought, and this is where I think that the Seahawks should have gone. I thought the Justin Fields move to the Jets was a great move. The Jets are in a transitional year. They're not good enough to compete.
Yeah.
I think Justin Fields was cheaper than Darnold. Justin Fields is a young quarterback who's been through a lot of bad offenses, hasn't had a lot of chance to develop. You're putting a flyer out there. They went with the Aaron Rodgers and it blew up in their face. But they also, I think, look at it and say, we're not there. We're not ready to compete. We thought we were. So let's put a flyer out on the guy with the actual potential. Sam Darnold is not getting better than what he did last year.
No. No. He's
But
going to a
again,
worst opportunity for
Justin
sure.
Fields shorter contract and guy you could tell me maybe has more potential. I didn't like the Darnold trade, but I love the Fields move. I actually thought Justin Fields was a great pickup. Alrighty, so that was my rant on quarterbacks.
Okay.
Your
I
thought? Who jumped out at you?
honestly, I know this is probably gonna sound stupid, but I feel like the Daniel Jones signing was is actually low key really good for the Colts because I think it gives Anthony Richardson some competition,
Neutral.
and Shane Steichen obviously did wonders with Jalen Hurts, using him as a mobile guy. And I don't know if you remember, but there were times when Jones played the Eagles that he could run. He had that one
Yeah,
like 60-yard run where he tripped on grass instead of scoring a touchdown. It was great.
it's a shame for him. That's how that highlight ends.
I know. He was literally nothing was stop. No one was stopping him. He just fell.
Such a good
Um,
play,
it
but
was
just
it was
yeah,
a great play. But I think like I'm once a player leaves your rival team, you kind of cheer him on a little bit. I hope he does well. I hope he takes the starting job from Richardson and surprises some people and goes and gets Sam Darnold money the next year. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't. I think the Sam Darnold. I don't think it was a terrible move. I just don't think it made sense for either party. Like I
no,
don't think Sam Darnold. Like he's like I'm just gonna take my money and rot.
can't
Um,
blame him.
but flip side. So what do if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you got to be scratching your head. Like so, we just traded for DK. Now we have
Hmm.
two. I would argue top. Let's say top 20 receivers and a really good tight end. Najee Harris actually left. I forget where he signed.
Chargers.
The Chargers, yeah. Um, so we won't have to listen to Flurry put him in the top five anymore
Not, yeah, he no longer is a top five running back.
because he's not on the Steelers. Um, so I mean, they have questions at running back. I think they still have Warren, but so you have a decent offense. You can fix the line. You obviously have good defense, but fix the line on offense. You got something to work with. But who the fuck's throwing the ball? Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers, Russell Wilson. You could have re-signed Justin Fields, but it seemed like he wanted to leave.
No, I mean, I don't blame Justin Fields leaving. He went 4-2 and then they benched him
Yeah,
just because they liked Russell.
yeah.
Yeah, the Steelers, I mean, now, it's like musical chairs and who's left? Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. You gonna run it back with
It's
Wilson or do you want to bring in Aaron Rodgers?
it's pretty crazy when you go from you know there are teams that get lucky and have a smooth transition from a franchise quarterback into like another guy. But I mean, I've seen it plenty of times that it doesn't typically doesn't go well. I mean, look at
No.
like even the Eagles when we went from McNabb to concussion Cobb, and then
Hmm. Nick Foles the first time.
and then Nick Foles, and then Mike Vick, and then Wentz, and now we finally got some you know consistency here with Jalen. But um, ever since Big Ben, Steelers have not really found. They tried
It
with
is,
Trubisky, and after the Bears
and
got
Kenny
rid of him,
Pickett.
and Kenny Pickett, and
It
but
has been tough. I mean, franchise quarterback's tough to come by for a
yeah,
reason.
yeah.
Um, I think if I'm them, it's tough.
I think you
I
have
guess
to go Aaron. Yeah,
Rogers.
you got to go
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
because
Because
you already
also,
tried Russell
where
Wilson.
is he going? Like, who else would he start for? You know,
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just got to try something new.
before he
I don't
retires.
like the DK trade for them. I think
It
DK is so overrated
it
as a
does.
player.
I mean, it's good on them to not give up a first. They basically
A
Seattle
second
basically
round pick though?
Seattle basically got back what they traded. I think he's worth a third or a second. Um,
But
but
then they gave him a 30 million per year
I was about to
contract.
say if I had to give him a contract extension that big, I would have only given up a third. But um,
Yeah,
he was a
I
second
thought
round
the
pick, so it's not like they wasn't a terrible. It wasn't a bad trade. I don't think it just wasn't ideal. I don't think that was their problem per se. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I think that there was other avenues to go to improve your team,
yeah.
and I don't know.
I mean, you have when
I didn't like the move.
you have a 1A receiver and then a really good tight end. You can do a lot with those. I'm obviously the Eagles are not, a good example because we have talent everywhere, but um, there was a there was a jump when AJ came and helped Devontae. So I think that's kind of similar. Obviously, DK is not in the same stratosphere as AJ, but that'll be a nice tandem. I'm excited to see when they fight each other because they're always fighting the other team. So it only
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense that they
it's
try to fight each other at some point.
that's the other thing is like you're bringing in a volatile player at
Oh,
that.
that's
Like,
typical. Yeah, but that's a typical Pittsburgh Steelers receiver.
yeah, I mean, I
I don't
guess
know
and you
what
just
they give them. I don't know what's in the Gatorade of the receiver room, but they are always off their rocker.
well, to be
Like,
fair, DK Metcalf will fit in. He just gets more money than all the other ones.
yeah,
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 I think that's weird. I think Rodgers ends up there, but if I'm a Pittsburgh fan, man, I would not be thrilled.
yeah. But um,
Uh,
I think Washington's had a solid free agency. I think the Broncos and the Colts have had a good free agency.
going off
The
of
Vikings
the
beefed up their D line pretty. Jonathan Allen and Hargrave.
yeah,
That's huge.
I liked both their signings
That's
there.
huge.
I think Allen and Hargrave are two guys that I've already shown that how good they can be.
Oh
They're
yeah.
both on the downward side. They both have been, a little irrelevant recently.
Oh, didn't I tell
But
you Javon Hargrave wasn't top 10 anymore and you gave me
oh
shit
yeah,
for it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
one time, a broken clock's right every once a year, once a day, right?
Yeah.
I like that move. I thought if it was a good fit. I think them playing next to each other would be good.
Yeah.
You have them both motivated. The Colts are actually one of my favorite ones. I already talked
Yeah.
about Ward,
Yeah, I
but
think the Colts did
really
well.
like the Hufanga pickup too.
I just like seeing the 49ers get siphoned of all their good players because they got to pay Brock Purdy. So now
Hey,
they
welcome
got
to
to let
real
everybody
life.
go.
But no, seriously, the Colts picking up Ward and Hufanga, I thought Hufanga at 340, 3 years, 45 is actually a really good deal. I know he's got a little injury concern, but
Mhm.
when the guy before he got hurt, man, he was balling. I think he's gonna look a little healthier. Hufanga and Ward played together. I don't know if that helps anything, but that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
teammates again. But yeah, I mean, it was a position in need, and they got two guys to kind of beef it up quite a bit without breaking the bank completely. So I did like that move for the Colts. Couple other signings I did like. I thought we touched on Godwin taking a hometown discount. Ronnie Staley's contract that he signed to avoid free agency looked pretty good when it started, and then you see guys like Dan Moore get over $80 million and
Yeah.
a backup for Trent Williams, who barely even played, now is protecting Patrick Mahomes' blindside with a nice
Hmm.
big contract. So I thought that was a pretty good deal that only looks better now. I mean, Dan Moore was the only thing I know about him is one, he played for the Steelers offensive line that I feel like has been awful for the last 20 years. And two, apparently he led up the most sacks in the NFL last year. And now he's getting paid pretty much the same amount of money as like Jordan Mailata. You know, you know. that tells you everything you need to know there. But
Yeah.
yeah, Stanley was a good pickup. You know who I always thought was a good signing.
Wait, real
That
quick,
was sneaky.
did you say Hufanga went to the Colts?
I did.
He went to the Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos. Maybe. Yeah, my bad. I mixed that one
I
up.
was like, oh, wait a minute. Um,
Got all man. There's too many signings, man. It's all over the place.
yeah, and it's a lot of like B tier players, so it's not like they're all names all get kind of jumbled in.
To be fair, it
Um,
was a B tier kind of free agency class.
well, I remember when we did the last episode, we were talking about that. Like, it was like there's not really anybody that jumps out. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking through. I mean, Chase Young is staying in New Orleans. He got a pretty decent contract for not doing much since his rookie year. Um,
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah. You know what? I'm all backwards and forwards. This is the problem. It's been too much going on. Things
the
going all over the
the
place. The
Bears
Colts,
the
the
Bears
Colts
boosted
signed
their
Cameron
line.
Byan. That's who I meant.
Yeah, he's a good
Apologies.
player. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Ward I like together, not Hafanga. But yeah,
Yeah, I think the Bears getting some O-line help definitely is good for um Caleb. So hopefully he
well, I
stays on his
mean,
feet.
couldn't get worse.
He was
You know,
running for his life.
the Tooney trade was good. I liked a couple other picks they
Yeah,
liked.
I see, but like that also, I don't. The Texans confuse me because they traded away a guard and they traded away their best offensive lineman, but like offensive line was a problem for them last year. Like they were struggling to stay healthy. Like CJ Stroud didn't look as great as he did, and so you just lost two pieces of your line. So I don't know.
Yeah, what you're hearing now is like they're saying, oh, it's a cultural thing. You know, he wasn't a fit in the locker room or whatever. He did have more penalties than anyone else apparently last year, so that's
Hmm.
definitely something. But I don't know. I feel I mean, if he's right, if he's motivated, he like Tunsil's like one of the best offensive linemen in football.
What was that? Oh, what did they even give up for him?
A couple they actually gave up a pretty sizable amount of picks. It was like 4 picks in total, two this year, two next year.
Let's see. Washington will send a third, a seventh in 2025, a second and a fourth in 26. Okay. I remember well when he got traded from Miami to Houston, wasn't that like
Oh, that was like 2 first round
yeah,
picks
that
and a
was like
second. Yeah, that was
crazy.
nuts.
That was like 5 years ago, but
Yeah, I listen, if you can get him right and he's not, having all these penalties and he's back to what he was, like, I mean, what he was CJ Stroud's rookie year, I think it's a steal for them. You need to start building around Daniels now. You got him on a rookie deal. The guy's legit. I like the
yeah.
aggressiveness. Kind of reminds me of the Trent Williams trade. Trent Williams sat out that whole year, basically hated Washington, had the whole injury scare, cancer thing. And they traded him to the Niners for a couple picks to block for their, young franchise quarterback who turned out to be Brock Purdy. And he's been amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we'll see. It's an aggressive move. I kind of like it. If they can get Tunsil, right to what he has been majority of his career, then I like it.
I was gonna say he's still a very good lineman. That's why I was like confused, but yeah, he was the 13th overall pick in 2016. So he's, coming up on almost 10 years in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna want an
Two first and a
extension.
second is what they
Yeah,
traded originally.
he's gonna want an extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm Washington, man, it's what you say with every rookie quarterback, especially a team that was just in the NFC Championship game with their rookie quarterback. You got to be aggressive. You got to spend some money. You're saying the same thing about the Bears and the Patriots, but both those teams still stink. They were awful last year, but they're saying the same thing. You got to be aggressive while you got them on rookie deals. Washington was actually looked like they were ready to like win it all. So they've got even more reason to push the pedal to the metal. So I don't hate it. I think it's good as long as you get them right. Um, Another move I kind of liked sneakily, and I actually would have entertained this for the Eagles. Hassan Reddick going to I think it was Tampa for
Yeah.
1 year and 12 million.
So he looks like kind of an idiot now because he could have gotten a
Yeah.
lot of money and he was being greedy, and now he's getting not a lot of money.
So he was originally, I looked at his Eagles contract.
hmm
Granted, it was a couple years ago, so it's different now, but 3 years, 45 million. So he was
hmm
making 15 million a year.
Yep.
Now he's down to 1 year, 12. I mean, the whole
14.
Jets debacle was a disaster. I don't know what went wrong there, but you can almost write that off as a lost year.
Yeah.
He was never going to produce when he came back. He was missed too much time. The
I
whole thing
don't
got sour.
I don't understand why the Jets would trade for a guy and then not give him an extension if that's what he explicitly wanted, you know.
I,
Um,
I don't know. The whole thing's just a disaster. But
eh,
I mean, again, you're talking about a top five pass rusher, arguably before the last year, and now you got
yeah.
him on a 1 year, 12 mil. Like, I mean, he's going to be very motivated.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't even know where you put him now in the rankings because he didn't really play at all last year. But
I mean, he's out of it now. That's a move I would have actually loved to see the Eagles do.
he'll be
Would have been all for it.
close to 31 by the time season starts. So
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to get that big long-term extension
no,
he
he
originally
lost
wanted.
his chance because he gambled and he lost. It's happens, but
Oh, yeah, damn. But
he could have had a ring.
yeah,
Go
I
figure.
did like that one. I did like that though. I think those are the most of the moves that I did like. A couple I hated, or just didn't make sense. Milton Williams, we talked about it. I mean, you can say what he
He was
wants.
going to
He
get
was a
paid,
backup.
but that was like way more than I thought.
I like Milton Williams. I will always look back on him fondly. He was a
Mhm.
really good player, criminally underrated.
Yeah.
But the dude is now making top three defensive tackle money. I thought he'd be making like I was like, oh, he's gonna make a lot of money, maybe top 10.
Yeah.
Like he's now paid as one of the best defensive tackles in the league, and he was a backup.
Uh-huh.
I that was wild. It's just, bad team with a lot of cap space. That's what you get. And you had two bad teams with a lot of cap space outbidding each other. Really wild. I've never seen such an overpay for a player than that, to be honest. I can't think of another one.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, I would say.
But who knows? Maybe he turns into yeah, he's got to be like Jalen Carter, Chris Jones-esque to back this one up.
And I mean, we knew Sweat was going. Um, but yeah, he got pretty good money too for a guy that doesn't really put up crazy numbers. But I mean, in a sense,
Yeah.
he's very like Brandon Graham-esque, where it's like there's more like non-stat production, but um,
I
it's
mean, I didn't
kind of
hate his
funny
deal.
how many players want to go play for Gannon who were on the Eagles because I thought they
Oh,
didn't like him, but
well, it's true. To be fair, this was kind of a running theme of free agency. A lot of players ended up getting signed by coaches or general managers they worked with
I mean
previously.
it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Familiarity.
yeah. The Sweat deal. I mean, he did get a lot of money. I mean, we knew we weren't going to sign him. I
No,
thought
yeah.
that's more realistic than the
I was
Milton
fine with
Williams
him leaving
money.
last
But
year, so
yeah,
I'm over it. Okay.
guy we talked about, Najee Harris. Didn't think that was a good signing. I don't know where he gets this love for. I know it's only a 1 year deal, but 10 million,
Uh,
like that in running back numbers, that's a pretty big number. And is he going to be better than J.K. Dobbins? No. J.K. Dobbins is still a free agent. I can't imagine that J.K. Dobbins was going to get more money than 10 million. You couldn't have brought him back. I didn't get that. I know where Najee
yeah.
Harris is. Give J.K. Dobbins another year of getting healthy. I think he's gonna be much better. So that one didn't make any sense to me. Um, Trying to think who else was there. What other head scratchers were there? There's quite a few.
I mean, there's always going to be plenty of overpays. But yeah, I'm
I
trying to look
mean,
through it.
everyone the New Orleans Saints sign. I don't know where they get money. Chase Young, I didn't think that extension made any sense.
No, well they restructured
They
uh
restructure half the team every year because they're $50 million over the cap every
which
season.
like how? Like who's getting all this
Because
money?
they just keep restructuring contracts.
It's like
They're probably
Derek
still
Carr,
paying Drew Brees.
probably still
Michael
playing like
Thomas is probably still on the in hit.
probably still playing JC Horn. Like
Yeah.
I think Kamara and Derek Carr I think have all their money. But
They're just these all these restructures get pushed back. But yeah, I didn't like the Chase Young signing. I mean, one, because the Saints shouldn't be spending any money in general. And then two, I don't know. I think you're still like his contract, I feel like was something you give him on potential, like thinking he's still gonna be better than he is.
Hmm.
I know he's a big draft pick, but just don't see it. Haven't seen it.
The
I'm not signing him to potential.
I'm looking at a list of free agent signings on PFF, and it's funny because Hassan Reddick still has an Eagles jersey in his picture.
Oh, he probably missed picture day with the Jets.
He ranked his 2024 ranking was 100 and hold on, 102 out of 119
Hmm.
qualified pass rushers.
When you hold out half the season, that's what's going to happen.
That'll happen to you. Milton Williams was 14th out of 118.
I mean, listen, he had a great year. I'm not going to say he didn't, but top three, I don't know about that one.
Where did Sweaty finish? Sweat
That's the thing.
was 36.
It's what he had a good year. I'm okay with the deal that he signed. I know he got a little heat, but I thought the edge rushers, surprisingly, edge rushers did not break the bank this year. D tackles broke
Would
the bank.
you would you have paid a 1 year 18 million contract for Khalil Mack to play on the Eagles?
No, not
I would have
really.
done
That's a lot of
like
money.
12. I feel like I would have done like 12.
The Reddick deal, I would have done 1 to 12 for Reddick. I'd been
Yeah.
very happy with that. I think Joey Bosa got, what did he get? Like, I think he
Mm,
got around like 10 or 12.
yeah, I don't remember.
See, that's another deal I would have liked to make. It's
He's like not even on the
that
first page of this ranking.
Joey Bosa got 12. Yeah. He's 29. It's 1 for 12 for Joey Bosa or Hassan Reddick.
He's
I would have
29
been
already.
all on that. I've been all on that. The 1 for 18 for Clomac, I'm not doing. That's too much.
Yeah. Matt Collins, uh, 2 year, 8 million.
I
Go
can't
play,
stand Matt
go
Collins.
play with the Patriots.
Can't stand Matt Collins. He infuriates me.
Let's see who else.
This was
Oh yeah, yeah, Joey Bosa.
quite a number of offensive linemen made a ton of money.
I was kind of shocked that Slay still got 10 million for being a 34-year-old cornerback.
Eh, listen, JC Horn's getting
I
25.
I figured I figured I figured after CJ got traded that meant maybe Slay was going to come back for another year, but
No, I think that was already established.
The Eagles weren't going to give
Yeah.
him 10 mil.
Again, I mean, we can wrap it up with the Eagles again.
Yeah.
None of the moves besides Gardner Johnson, I am either upset with or didn't expect to happen anyway.
I knew
Like
it was
I am gonna miss Slay, but we knew we were moving on him.
yeah,
Milton Williams, I know is a good player, but I knew there was no way he was coming back. Sweat
didn't make
too.
sense. Yeah.
I like both Sweat and Milton Williams. I wish him the best. Milton Williams, he will be plenty fine. I mean, good luck, buddy. You got a big target on your shoulder now after getting this big contract. But all good players. Kenny Pickett for anything is a good move. But yeah, I mean, I'm still making a win now move. Get me a win now move, Howie.
I think they're already winning now already, but I mean, we just won.
Eh, I mean, listen, I hear you, but you know what? I need to see a pass rusher.
Was the draft?
Brandon Graham's gone. Sweat's gone. Bryce Huff stinks.
They're definitely gonna do something in the draft. I don't think they're staying at 32. I think they probably back out of the first, but
I mean, they got so many picks, though. I'd rather see him package them up to go get a guy you like you did with Devontae Smith or Jordan Davis.
so we'll end it on what position do you want the Eagles to attack if they keep a first round pick?
I need a pass rusher. I mean, that is a point of weakness. I think they're pretty much set in every position right now before the draft and before free agency finishes. But they need a pass rusher.
I haven't
That was a strength of the team last year. Now you have Nolan Smith, who's a stud. Bryce Huff stinks. Jalex Hunt, who's I think pretty solid, but he's not going to be Sweat or Graham right away. I don't think so. And then who else?
I think I'd like a safety or an edge rusher or like a D back or an edge. But I also
But I
think
mean,
tackle. I think offensive tackle because Lane's getting a little older. Milata's getting a little older.
no. See, that's fine, and I like that. I appreciate that thinking. But this is a win now off
I
season.
also agree. Yeah,
I think you have the secondary with Sidney Brown and Keely Ringo. I like Keely Ringo. I've been a Keely Ringo fan.
I like Keely. I like Sydney. I've heard mixed things on. I've heard some people have been saying the Eagles are high on Sidney Brown, and then I've heard other people saying that he doesn't really fit the system. And I'm like, okay, well, we're just gonna have to find out when training camp comes around.
I
But
mean, that I was
he
more
also was
okay with.
hurt. Like he missed half the season. He was hurt.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm more excited for Ringo than I am Brown. I That's why I think I was more okay with Rogers leaving than Gardner Johnson. But I mean, those are your replacements. You have their replacements on the team already. Edge rushers, you don't have those replacements. Hunt will be okay, but
Yeah.
you still have, depth is the biggest thing, and you don't have that.
Hmm.
You need someone to start ahead of Hunt and Huff. And honestly, if you can trade Huff, I'd be even happier.
Good
But then
luck.
that leaves you just Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith currently.
All right. So, well, I already said one, but now we're really ended on this. So training camp comes around. Um, Huff and Dallas Goddard are are they on the team or are they off the team?
Huff will be on the team. I don't think it's possible. Howie Roseman is great, but I mean, I just don't
Not
see how
God.
they can get away from it. Like, I think it'll be to the point. I don't know his exact contract numbers, but I think it'll be the point like you would pay more money for him not to be on the team than you would if he was just on the team.
Hey, maybe he comes out in training camp and he's like a whole new guy and he like resurrects all that contract.
Honestly, I look at Bryce Huff as like when we start the season, I'll look at Bryce Huff as a free agent signing. As like he didn't even play last year, like he wasn't a part of the team. This is his first season with the Eagles.
He reminds me of like a newborn animal when they can barely walk because he's always on the floor every time he pass rushes.
Yeah, he was basically on the practice squad last year. Like he was a
Yeah.
practice squad player last year.
We'll see what
But
happens.
Dallas got it, man. I want to say he stays,
Yeah.
but it seems like the decision's already been made that they're not going to extend him. And I mean, this is classic Howie. He extends guys before the market sets the price, and he moves on from guys before it gets ugly. Like you never see a
Yeah.
training camp holdout with him because this is like Hassan Reddick. You know,
Well, Hassan was the holdout. Yeah.
yeah, but that was with the Jets. Whoever Goddard gets
Yeah.
traded to, he's gonna expect a contract from there.
I
And
say ship him to Vegas and get Michael Myers back and return because
yeah, but
the Raiders don't need him. They have you know, well, I guess then that
then
they
why do
also
they need Dallas
yeah,
Goddard?
no, that's a good point. That's that was kind of yeah, okay, makes sense. I don't know. I think if I had to say yes or no, I think it's going to surprise people, and I'll say he's still on the team and he's just going to play out his contract only because I don't think the Eagles are going to get what they want in return, and they would rather have him for another year than risk um, getting like nothing really, like then get like a shitty return. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. I mean, that's my thinking on I would keep him because
Yeah.
again, I would go all in this year before you
Unless
have
you're
to
getting
start paying
like
everyone.
a nice draft pick or some kind of player comp, I would keep him. I wouldn't just do it, trade him to free up the money at that point. I think he's too valuable.
I would keep. I mean, yeah, I
You know
obviously
how
they
I
got a
feel
lot of
about
extensions coming
Calcaterra,
in.
so
That is true. They got a lot of extensions coming up, but I look at next year as run it back, do it big, go get another championship,
mm,
because then the year after that is going to be not just signing guys, you're going to have to make some uncomfortable decisions.
yeah,
You're going to have to look into Malata, Devontae Smith, you can't sign all those guys, you're going to have to save some money for DeJean and Quinyon. Like some of these great picks, Jordan Davis, like, do they stay? Like they're going to have to start moving on from guys you don't want to move on from.
it's true.
So run it back one more time. Get me a win now move. Get me a pass rusher. Make it Trey Hendrickson,
We
and let's all be
we
happy.
don't have money for Trey Hendrickson.
We'll find it somewhere. Look under the mattress.
Start a GoFundMe.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, till the next episode. Peace out.
I'm gonna do it. Peace.
See ya.